Women's March organizers are ramping up to protest against the NRA for a video they say is encouraging racially motivated violence. The Facebook event for the 18-mile march from the NRA headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia, to the Department of Justice building in Washington, D.C., that's scheduled for today and tomorrow reads, "Recent actions of the NRA demonstrate not only a disregard for the lives of Black and brown people in America, but appear to be a direct endorsement of violence against women, our families, and our communities for exercising our constitutional right to protest." In response, Antonia Okafor, founder of Empowered, has a message for Women's March protesters. Watch.
The truth is, and you heard it from me first, it's your rhetoric, your hostility, your lies that have continued to keep the Black community down, unarmed, and defenseless. But for your sake, continuing to vote your way. You hide the fact that gun control laws were designed to keep men and women like me from self-protection from the real racists on the streets. You know, like the KKK, who began as you guessed it, a gun control group. It's funny, because your letter to the NRA claims to be on behalf of the minority community. Your letter claims to speak to women like me. Know what's even funnier, though? That you claim to be protesting the NRA on behalf of women and Black people when it is Black women who are becoming gun owners faster than anyone else.
With me now is Antonia Okafor. Antonia, I wanted to expand on a point you made in the video that we just watched. Why are Black women becoming the fastest gun owners than anyone else, and why are gun control advocates lying about this?
Yeah, you know what? They're lying because they're afraid. They're afraid that, the NRA is growing and is going to be more diverse because, Black women especially are becoming gun owners because they want the option to protect themselves. They're realizing it's not a political issue. It's not about Trump. It's not about who won the presidency. It's about themselves and the places that they live in. Right now I'm in Chicago filming a documentary on gun control. And the women that I talk to, they're Black women. They tell me that they're afraid. They're in Inglewood and they're afraid of, going out at night. They're afraid for their kids and they want a way to protect themselves. So that's why more Black women especially are arming themselves.
Yeah, I mean, why are feminists opposed to women defending themselves from violence, from sexual assault? Why are gun control advocates so opposed to women being able to protect themselves and have power in their own hands?
Because really, like I said in my video for the NRA, it's never been about women and empowering them. It's never been about minorities and empowering them. It's really about enforcing and, empowering themselves as the radical left. An agenda that they have that is about, extending and advancing progressivism. It's never been about us as Black people. I used to be on the left, and once I realized that it was just about them getting votes, not really about me and my success and my prosperity, that I left. And I think more people are waking up to that. But unfortunately, like this with the NRA march right now, the Women's March against NRA, they're trying to make it, where they're looking at the lies, like they're covering up the truth when it comes to what's really going on, the issues. And the issue is that, more people like me are waking up, and they don't like that. So they want to turn the narrative back to them.
Yeah, what would you tell liberal women who, you say you used to be a liberal, you used to think like that? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that, start asking questions, because once you start doing that, then you realize that if, most people, and I believe, have their own self-interest at heart. If you really are about Black people, for example, then look at the statistics. Look and see, for example, I looked at President Obama's statistics with the Black community, and I didn't see anything that was pointing to success or upward trend. Instead, I saw the opposite. And so, do your research, see if, the policies and people that are putting those policies in place are really helping your community and yourself. And then see the broader picture if it's helping everybody, especially Americans.
Yeah, and one of the organizers of this march that's going on this weekend, Tamika Mallory, she told Pop Sugar last week that, quote, "the blood of children in Chicago is on their hands," in reference to the NRA. What do you say to that?
No, I would say the blood in Chicago is on their hands. And I can't tell you how many people that I've interviewed last week I've been in Chicago, when it doesn't even come down to the guns, where I've actually trying to help them and tell them, hey, is it really about guns? Is it there's more guns on the streets that's the problem? No, they'll say, no, you know what? It's not really about that. It's the fact that there's behaviors, the people who carry those guns. That's the issue. Like I said, there are Black women here who are in poverty, who have kids, but they're law-abiding citizens and they want the right to be able to protect themselves. But these people who are gang members, who lost that right a long time ago, they're the ones that they're afraid of, and yet they have no way to protect themselves. So that's the issue. It's the root causes. Poverty. It's we need economic development. We need a healing of the community, not taking away guns from people who should have guns and access to it.
Yeah, I mean, shocker, criminals don't follow laws, including gun control laws. I wanted to, I'm really sick as a woman. I'm really sick and tired of liberals telling me that I'm not allowed to have an opinion that's different from theirs. And I think a lot of these protests are not really about, empowering us and speaking our minds. I think it's really about swatting down dissent. Speaking of dissent, a Black Lives Matter activist in LA just released a video saying that they're going to work to vigorously defend the First Amendment. But the way that they're doing that is kind of interesting. They're demanding that the NRA take down the video of Dana Lash. Let's watch.
We're talking about our lives here. When the NRA issues a public call to their constituents inciting violence against people who are constitutionally fighting for their lives, we don't take that lightly. We know that we are not safe, but we are not scared either. We will continue to produce media, teach students, march, and protest to not only protect the First Amendment as fiercely as the NRA protects the Second, but to protect our lives from gun-toting racists. We demand the NRA immediately remove their dangerous propaganda videos narrated by conservative talk radio hosts Dana Lash and Grant Stinchfield.
This seems like a contradiction to me. How can someone in one breath say, we're going to fight vigorously to defend the First Amendment, this is so important for us, free speech, and then in the next breath say, but you need to take down that video where you said things that we don't like? I mean, that just, that's mind-boggling to me. What are your thoughts?
Oh no, you know what? The more I hear stuff like that, the more it makes sense. It's the illogical left. They don't make any sense because there's no reason behind what they're saying. Because if they really were against violence, which the NRA ad had nothing to do with violence. In fact, it was, talking about the violence that is on the left that has been a problem. That's never been an issue. That the NRA is for the First Amendment just as much as it's for the Second Amendment. Of course, they all work together. But they're the ones who, don't say anything about UC Berkeley and Antifa and all these different, actual violent organizations that they should be calling and denouncing, renouncing on their side, but they're not. Instead, they're focusing on the other side. And I think it's funny, too, because, you talk about the conservative Dana Lash and, Grant Stanfield. Well, what about me? Because now I'm one of the commentators on this issue. And I want it to be because of that. The fact that they're going to make it into a black-white thing. Well, I guess they're going to have to figure out how they're going to deal with me because I'm a Black woman and I'm really against what they're saying.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And speaking of violence from the left, 2 days after that video was released, a Bernie Sanders supporter went out and shot a lot of Republicans, including Steve Scalise, who is still recovering from the wounds that were inflicted several weeks ago.